Hi guys, how are you? So nice to connect to you. Welcome to this channel. My name is Laura. This is Pleiadian Healer from PleiadianHealer.com. And welcome to this video. So I'm not really sure what exactly to title it. Probably something along the way of the real harm of the new age, or I mean, I feel we already have like a few videos, right? Like how damaging the new age is and everything. But these are just a few more comments and concepts summed up. Now, I have a video from, was it January, February 2021, and then there's another one from like July, August 2021, and then also I think February of this year. So if you go to the playlist, the New Age and New Age Trap, or reviewing New Ages, reviewing the New Age Trap, that's basically where you're going to find all those videos. I'll also try to link them, like the timestamps that usually pop up somewhere up here in the corner. So all of those videos, we're going through certain topics, right? And it's like each video has a different topic, like 3 to 5 topics summed up. Now in this one, I actually want to start off with stuff like the Akashic Records, because people have been asking about those, and also the light language again, because I think it's very important to point that out over and over again. And there were a few more, yes, calling in like random entities and flames and all of that too. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm gonna just quote something here. I already shared it with my Telegram group. And if you're not on my Telegram, BitChute, Odyssey, you can find all the links below. I do advise you to follow me on those platforms, because as we know, YouTube is just censoring stuff, not just my channel, also a whole lot of other channels. It's just to be on the safer side. I had posted this particular paragraph already in my Telegram group and already got responses to it. So this is forwarded from an astrologer called Fiona Edgar. She is also an astrologer who kind of debunked the entire Lionsgate portal deception. So I personally have a whole lot of videos on those already, but from an astrologer viewpoint, you know, the entire thing with all those things lining up, like the sun, earth and Sirius and all of that, none of that happens. So there are even astrologers out there who are debunking that. For people who want to know more about that, you can watch my video as well. That's from like approximately 1.5 months ago. And she just put something in her group, which I'm going to quote. So it starts now. How do we spot agents of subversion, otherwise known as controlled and then opposition? Watch Yuri Besmenov's interview for a brief explanation. I'll try to put his video in the description if I can find it. I know it's floating around somewhere in the comments. High profile figures with a large following, mostly within the New Age, UFO, or conspiracy truther movements. They drop fragments of truths to gain the trust of groups of people while purposely leading them away from the real truth. For example, someone who blames events on aliens and the Illuminati while encouraging Zionist religions and a passive response to events. Send love and light to your enemies. We are all one, etc. Anyone who is high profile and still alive is a subversion agent. It doesn't matter if they have been banned from a few social media platforms. These agents have been active for a very long time, but especially over the last 200 years. Trust yourself more than anything else that you hear or read. We are at the blackest part of the age of darkness. So I think her thing is always the age of darkness. I have a different opinion on that, but that's not really relevant for this video. So just going back to that, I kind of shared it, and then I was like, you know, I saw this, and it's true. People like to argue that some of these new agers or truthers are against the you know what, you know, the jibbity jabbity Jew, and that we should therefore hear them out or follow them without questioning them. Controlled op is all I have to say to that. So, you know, a lot of them have already been reviewed on this channel too. And if not, they're going to be reviewed. They are also all distractions. That's literally how I see a lot of these people. So not just the ones that I mentioned, but certainly, you know, you look at all these accounts, and I'm sure you can think of at least a few here and there that have been around for like 20, 30 years, you know, Ike being an example of that too. But in a lot of times, you know, they give us, okay, so give us this grain of truth. Great. What's the solution really? There's like no solution given, right? So none of them really show you a way out. And that was really the part where I was really pointing it out with a lot of these new agers too. Okay, it's great that you know about all these agendas, but you're not really showing us any way out. How do we get out of here? You know, how do we get away from this entire mess that we're surrounded by? And they don't give you a very deep truth either. You know, they give you like a tiny thing and that hooks people in. Most still perpetuate and enforce the false white light tunnel. The most recent life that I had, a lot of people were mentioning this one person who, for example, was reinforcing that over and over again. They're also connecting with AI angels, ascended masters, spirit misguides, Arcturians, Pleiadians, and other ET races, which actually don't even exist in that form, right? But are just random astral entities disguised as such. So that's something that I kind of put in there while I was mentioning this quoted text that I had just quoted too. Just to kind of go through all of that. You know, people were commenting being like, oh, just let this one person be, or what's so wrong about following them? You know, basically you guys are on the same side. You're against the, you know what, you're against this and that. And there were other people that rightfully commented below that being like, you don't understand the damage that's really been done to these innocent things that they're putting out, you know, these innocent, oh, let's just call in like these entities or violet flames or this and that and spirit misguides. Like people have been very darkly damaged by this, like very deeply damaged by this too, to such an extent that some of them, you know, I've worked with a lot of people of that, especially lately, you know, ever since the Lionsgate Deception Portal video blew up, like people have been reaching out and being like, this happened, that happened, how to help my friends. You know, I see my friend is still in that psyop and yada yada. So it's not just that they want to help themselves because they've been in that, some of them have been in this for decades. You know, I have people of all walks in life who are like, yeah, I've been in this for 20, 30, 40 years and finally something clicked. And it's like, this is not making sense. Like, why am I running around in circles and doing all these things and there's no result basically? And I want to quote a few comments that I gotten recently too, because the comments say a lot as well. And then other people comment who are literally only 18, 19 years old, and they're waking up from this new age deception and all the other deceptions too, you know, the religious programming, the savior programming, all of that. And they're just like, hold on, like something's not making sense. And I'm like, good for you. I wish whenever I was your age, you know, 16, 17, 18 or 19, that I would have actually seen through this way sooner. But unfortunately, a lot of us haven't. And it's good for them that they're actually waking up to this way sooner. So for that, I'm happy that they're actually coming across videos like mine and other people too. And they're waking up from all of this, right? So the real damage that's been done, like people legit don't even recognize themselves anymore, you know, after the new age. They're legit, they're like a shadow of themselves. With some of them, they're having thoughts of harming themselves, and that's usually entities in their field. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff. You know, a lot of them lost like strong connections that they had possibly with relationships, be a lover, partner, or just a friend, or even like parents, family, whatever. So they kind of lost the entire network that they need when waking up from all of that because of all the entire cult mentality they were in. Let us just go through a few comments, and I think those are going to make a lot of sense to people who are following this channel too. So one of them was, first of all, one came in and I thought this was, it's very short compared to the other comments. I think this was a very interesting one. First of all, the person's saying, you know, your video is 2 weeks old and now I can see it while I'm checking your channel every day to see it has no new content. It's no surprise. Obviously my channel and other channels are censored. weird. It feels like it has been covered for 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure it has, because of the entire censorship issue that was going on for the past 2 or 3 weeks. And the person goes on saying, I was in the New Age too, partly because not everything really resonated with me, but I never reached the results others have or others became, is the way they wrote it. I was told that it was because, and here's the kicker, and here's really where most people have the most damage from, because I didn't do my work, meditate, affirmations, positive vibes, all the typical stuff. So basically people in the New Age were telling this person, oh, you're low vibrational, oh, your ego's coming in the way, oh, this and that and whatever. I believed it and really felt worthless. I lost a lot of money this year, and probably also like the years before. This is true. Like, you just kind of jump from one certificate to another, from one New Age meditation to the next. A lot of them do cost money, as we know. You jump into all these things like cacao ceremonies, ayahuasca circles, substance things, other psychedelics they want to put you under. You jump into all these things like, oh, Stonehenge rituals or the Lionsgate portal circles. I was looking online, like people want like $88 or pounds or whatever for those. At least this past year they did. Because I'm still, I still kind of check what's up with these circles, what do they offer? And I'm just like, this is crazy that people are actually really under a spell to just perpetuate that every year. And it just keeps getting more expensive and more expensive too. And nothing comes out of it other than your energy being harvested, basically. So fortunately, I found your channel and also those of others, and I'm really coming home. I understand so much better what happens to me in the energy, the psychic attacks I'm getting, and the feeling of being worthless and not being able to reach my best life is mostly gone. So that's great. The entire thing of what the New Age wants to put you under, not just the New Age, by the way, also religion is another huge one. They want to put you under this thing of, oh, if you don't pray to God or Jesus, you're basically not worthy of anything. That's why your life is going wrong. And it's so funny to me because legit, a bit of sidetracking to the religion part, legit, the people that pray the most to these entities, to God, to Jesus, to the archangels in religion, they're usually the ones who are the poorest. And I really hate to say it that way, but you won't find a rich person out there, calling in all these entities 24/7. It usually is the very poor people who are laboring and working their lives away, and who really don't have time to question their lives because of that, because they're working like 3 or 4 jobs at this point. They have children, they have this, they have that, they have responsibilities. And it's really just, you see how easy it is to perpetuate the cycle in both the New Age and religion, because you're really getting to the people who at the core of it, I do feel most people, also the ones who left comments on my channel that weren't so nice, by the way, but I do feel most of those people at the core of it, they have a good heart. Otherwise they wouldn't want to try to go to a better reality. They wouldn't want to go to this false ascension trap, the false 5D matrix, all of those things. Like at the core of it, they have a good heart. They want to receive something from, the salvation, going into heaven. We want to live our best life. We don't want to kill our neighbor. We don't want to become bad people, both in New Age and religion. And that's where the system exploits them and has been exploiting them for so long. This is not something that's new. This has been going on for hundreds of years and even thousands of years, right? So maybe not necessarily with the New Age, but definitely with religion and other psyops that we're being put under as souls in and of itself. So the person goes on saying, except from the slap in the face I get now and then when I have to deal with reality. And for a lot of people, not necessarily this person, but for a lot of people that I've spoken to lately over these past few months, the slap in the face is, having very strong financial debt that they're in all of a sudden, because they have been just spending their money in all these New Age circles, the New Age this, the New Age that, whatever. And all of a sudden they find themselves with thousands of dollars in debt or other damage in their life. And they were never really like that before the New Age, right? Like the years before they were in the New Age. So here's another interesting comment, and it's a bit longer. And I do think a lot of them are just important to point out, how people deal with this. Hi, I just want to tell you that I'm glad I found your YouTube channel. I'm happy too. My first impression was pure shock and denial. I know. I remember back, years ago, a few years ago at this point, where all of this kind of came crashing down onto me. It was also like, it was shock. It was legit being shocked at the spiritual superiority, which I'll mention that in a different comment, but really feeling for the longest time, in my case, it was probably 5 or 6 years or so, where you feel so superior to everyone else around you for, oh, we're almost in 5D and those people are going to be left behind. And oh my gosh, we're so much better than anyone else because we actually really know what's going on, when you're really under that psyop. So my first impression was pure shock and denial, especially when I heard for the first time that angels are AI. I was put deep under the angel archangel spell, if I'm still not under it. I was, and I still am a bit kind of deep in the New Age trap, believing in angels, ascended masters, also calling upon them, believing in spirit guides, listening to light language videos, and being into all this ET stuff. Now I'm more in a phase of confusion. I know that confusion really happens when you have to wake up out of that false awakening, is how, it's the only term you can really find, because it is a false awakening in a form. Not knowing what is real anymore. I'm getting tired of the lies. I'm getting tired of deception. And I'm also getting tired of questions with no answers. And that part really got me, because I'm like, that is so true. You keep asking these people, these huge New Age accounts, especially, who just give these random readings on, oh, this person's going to win in the elections, and oh, and this is going to happen. Oh my gosh, we're still in it. We're still in the race, and yada, yada. And it's just like, you get no answers. You never get, it's always like you're perpetuating the cycle with both the truther movement and the New Age movement. There's like no answers coming out of it, because these people are just misleading, right? What is the fifth dimension this whole cult is talking about? I'm pretty sure you don't get transported to another world if you reach it in the case it even exists, right? What is actually the matrix? Some holographic AI thing, and the totality of programs we have inside our minds, meaning the fear programming, the savior programming, the religious programming, and so on. The totality of illusions and deceptions the architects of this matrix are feeding us, probably all of the above. And how do we escape it? So I feel the only way to get out of this is finding the truth. And the truth is, there's no hierarchy, no higher beings, that the true power lies within us. I completely agree with you on that. And every single movement out there, be it religion, be it New Age, be it truther movement, they want to take you away from that. We don't need any being outside of ourselves to tell us what to do and how to do it, nor to heal us, for we can heal ourselves. If the sky we see is fake, what lies beyond the hologram? And so this person is pretty young still. They're saying they're 18, which I think it's pretty amazing that 18-year-olds are already at a point where they're like, I'm not getting any answers out of all of this, following these people who are just misleading and over again. So what's the next answer? I have troubles trusting in myself, especially after constantly being tricked by entities. It's very hard. And I feel that's also part of it. People were commenting of like, oh, but just let us connect with our spirit guides and angels and ETs. Like, what's the harm in it? The harm in it is that the more you do that, the less you're going to actually listen to your own intuition and inner knowing. And that's really a huge one that the New Age movement and other movements are trying to take you away from. Okay. And when you lose that innate ability to connect with your own self, there's a lot of damage in and of itself in that too, because you're always going to be looking for something outside of yourself. You're always going to be looking at how to get the next kick, the next false high, the next answers, because you don't realize that the answers are within you already. And none of these people that were dissected on this channel give you that at all, by the way. Discovering your channel really represents a step forward in my journey of waking up from my false awakening. Thank you for posting the videos that I should really check more often. I can't say I watched very much of your content, but I watched enough to give me a healthy slap on the back of my head. And I'm happy for that. If that's what you're getting from this channel, good for you. And I think it's also needed for some people. And then they just had a different thing in terms to the movie comments and everything. And then here's a very interesting one too. So a person was being like, I think that, so they left us comments, you know, sometimes some nasty comments can stay up because you just see how ridiculous they are. So one person was saying, oh, you're a lost soul and yada, yada. And there's like from my end, there's no reaction because I know who I am and what I am. And I'm not the one who promises you, you know, the false hopium of 5D and New Age awakening. But this person commented being like, be very careful who you call a lost soul. That already there is a red warning that you're programmed. Are you saying, so the person was responding to another person, not me. Are you saying you know exactly what we're in because of what these teachers tell you? Because I thought that too. And I was cocky about it. And I know a lot of us can relate to that. We were cocky about it. We were superior, you know, spiritual superiority. And we were walking along the street being like, we're better than anyone else because we know what's really going on. You know, I think a lot of us can relate to that. So I thought that was very important. She pointed that out. I was cocky about it. I thought I was right. We are all lost in this construct, matrix, or whatever you want to name it. They took all of our memories and we have no clue of anything really. Maybe some have a little extra knowing. I went into a psychosis for 7 days. I scared my children, my whole family, thought I was a goner because of this new age agenda. I was violently shown the fake light. A few of these people she named took me to. I guess that light is basically dead. So like the false white tunnel is basically dead. It's robotic. It's empty. And it feels like a dome with nothing in it. I saw it for days and I was going insane. And then when I got to the psych ward, it even got worse because I thought the devils were in the walls. I'm still not convinced they weren't. I feel these are just all entities around that person too, who kind of are, when you're in that in-between state, you see them more anyhow. And they really try to get to a lot of us, you know. And a lot of people have contacted me and reached out in private telling me about their experiences with those entities, how they're whispering in their ears, how they're trying to seduce you to inflict self-harm and everything. So it's not surprising what's happening here. It happens to a lot of us. A lot of targeted souls are going through this. And somebody was trying to steal my name and my soul. So also with this entire white light thing, it kind of makes sense why some ghosts or whatever you want to call it, some people that already passed away, they don't want to be like shoved into that and everything. I had that situation like years ago, back in 2017. So basically I think that was all. No, the person says other things. I met face to face with the mention of Federation. I think that's Galactic Federation of Evilness and all of that winged collective. And it's all AI just trying to keep you distracted, to keep you bogged into this false reality or fake reality they are trying so hard to create. After knowing in my heart that that light was fake and all of that, it's just another program like the Christian and Jesus, I eventually was able to put it all behind me and rebuild my mental stability. And I feel this is a perfect example of taking your power back too, you know? And it's really what none of these people, most of the people in the New Age, they're not empowering you. They're trying to take your power away. Okay, I'm not going to name names because it's so many, but in the essence of it, they're taking your power away. And I feel that's also a huge one that's being pointed out in this comment. So this person is worried about psychic attacks when they write comments on my channel. I agree. It's, you know, especially after certain videos blew up, I could feel the psychic attacks for days. Like I might talk about it in a different video, not necessarily this one, but they're very valid. So sensitive people are picking up on it. You know, I can tell you about the octopus energy I tapped into over these past few days. Similar to the demiurge, the octopus that's kind of around the demiurge is what it felt to me. It's all AI. I agree with this person. It's an AI is not just robotic, computer, whatever. AI was created during Atlantis and we're still in Atlantis. And I want to have a different video on that too, because people don't understand that Atlantis never ended. We're still in it. So anyone who wants to make you believe that Atlantis is done with, it's not true. We're still in it. And that's why we're being mind wiped over and over again and all of the things. So that's just a few comments that I wanted to go into. So when people are saying, oh, it's just innocent what these people are saying, like just let them say that. At least you guys are both against the you know what and the 2020 agenda and on. No, I completely disagree with that. You know, like, sure, some of their accounts were taken away, like some channels, some of these huge accounts, you know, like Ike or whatever, like they disappeared from YouTube or they disappeared maybe from Facebook or whatever, but they still have a huge following in one form or another. People are still following their newsletters, which can be very misleading too. So the issue is still there. The core issue is still there. They're still out there misleading people, either through their chat groups they built up or their other platforms they're on and all of those things. Now, there was another thing that I want to mention. So a person was saying, you know, I was sucked into listening to light language a couple of times. Now I don't feel right. The warm, fuzzy feeling in my heart is gone. Is there anything I can do about this? So what I have to say about light language is I gotta look at my notes here too to see if there's anything I forgot. So with the entire light language thing, I already have a video on it, and I think I put it in the New Age playlist video too, where we're just reviewing the concepts. In the essence of it, light language is a multitude of things. Like people are basically using their hands for light language. They're using actual light codes with the sun for light language. There's a variety what you can say as light language that qualifies for light language. But what I got, also the speaking, you know, the wow, like the random sounds that just come out, you know, like the blah. It's like, oh yes, I'm channeling this light language of this seventh dimensional Syrian being or Pleiadian or Terran being, whatever. So a lot qualifies for light language. Whatever it is that you're following, most likely there's an encoding that's put onto you, especially with the sounds. There's codes they put onto you in your energy field, and also especially with the hand movements. So when you see people doing the light language with the hands, and I know I was following this one woman, she had like this light language channel and she was in Sydney, and that was before I actually moved to Sydney back in 2019. And I was also all still in the New Age PSYOP. And I was like, oh, maybe we can meet with her in person. But luckily it never happened. Like I was following her for the longest time until I started noticing, in the essence of it, these are psychic attacks coming from this woman through other entities towards not just me, but everyone who's watching her channel. And especially with the hand movements, they do like these random things and push it towards you. I don't want to do it too much because I don't want to, you know, but I think you know what I mean. So with a lot of people who are doing that, it's, of course, the empty stare, meaning there's an entity working through them, pushing their agenda onto you. And somehow the hand movements encode something in your energy field even more, meaning you're having all these codes and psychic attacks in your energy field. And you should probably get rid of those, by the way. You can get rid of those yourself too, or you can just, you know, have a healing session with someone who knows what they're doing, get rid of that. But that's basically what it is. They're really putting these low key or high key psychic attacks onto you. They're also encoding a whole lot of stuff onto you. And it really just confuses your energy even more. And it kind of perpetuates the mind control more and more that a lot of people are under who are in this New Age thing. So this person not feeling right after listening to light language a couple of times, and also her heart being affected, makes a lot of sense to me personally. For people who don't really know what's going on, it's like, hey, what happened here? But for me, it's like, yeah, they're trying to get to your heart center. A lot of that does come through in my own sessions too, by the way. And they're trying to take away your soul in essence through that, which your soul is, you know, there's a huge portal through your heart to the connection to your own soul. And a lot of people don't know that, which is also why they're trying to distract you from that constantly. They're always putting stuff in your so-called, you know, the New Age calls it heart chakra, all of that. They're always putting stuff through that. And, you know, I hate to say it, but especially with the Lionsgate portal thing, there's so much that's being called in that you guys basically have no idea what's being called in if you're new to all this stuff, you know, if you're really just waking up from all of it. So probably deserves a different video in and of itself. Now, let me just see if there's something I forgot. Oh, there was another really interesting comment. It was just a random comment that wasn't even on my own channel. It was on a random social media site. So this person was clinically dead 2 times. They saw the white door, but a violet door before the white door, struggling. So that makes me think of maybe this is like dying version 2.0 or something, as bad as it sounds, that for people who are somehow aware that they're being dragged through a false white tunnel, the white light tunnel, they're putting a whole new layer to this. And some people are seeing a violet door, meaning like this violet light tunnel or whatever. So you have to really be careful. Before we pass away, just be aware of all these deceptions that are going on. Like that's the first time I actually heard about a violet door. It's not surprising to me. Another thing I wanted to mention briefly. So I think you kind of got the gist of calling upon these entities and spirit guides and all of that, why that could be so dangerous. In the essence of it, these astral beings are just effing with you, most of them. And a lot of times it really is just to deceive you even more, to confuse you even more. And they're not really doing a whole lot in your life. They're really not doing much, too many better things. Actually, there was another comment that was really mentioning that too. Let me just pull it up. Okay, all of a sudden, all the good comments keep popping up. And this video is getting longer than I expected, but I'll try to cram it in. So here's another one. I wanted to ask you for a while. Could you do a video about your perspective on the Akashic Records? I have been questioning these for some time now, and I heard you mentioning them in the video. I have been doing a class about the Akashic, and ever since my life has gone south, there was a lot of connection to the archangels in the class too. I have stepped out of the angelic spell, but I wonder if the Akashic is legit or just another illusion and program. At the beginning of the class, my cat died very suddenly and tragically, and I always wondered if there is a connection. I have stepped away from the angels and ascended masters ever since. I would be interested to hear your opinion on this one. Yeah, so that's like a perfect example of all these innocent concepts and people's lives literally being ruined, right? So for me, when I heard that part about the cat, it wasn't surprising because it kind of felt like the sacrifice was needed for this class, for whoever the teacher was, that they were already calling upon all these entities, and a random animal or pet dies. Yeah, I mean, pets pick up on energy way more than humans do, just giving an idea, especially cats. Cats are very sensitive to energy. Dogs are too. And when a pet just dies like that, it means a lot. I know they have their own timing when they want to go and when it's time to go, but I feel there was something going on here too. So similar to that one video I made on the Georgia Guidestones, where I was basically mentioning that in the essence of it, a lot of these new age programs, in the purity of it, in the purity of what used to be thousands of years ago, they used to be very pure, and then they were hijacked somehow, and now they're being riddled and basically just kind of even like kind of shielded by all these entities that don't want you to have a deeper access to it. So a quick read on the Akashic Records, and I do want to do a larger read on it too, and I'll do that over on my Patreon. But basically, what I got on it was they're hijacked, and it's a program that's correct. So the person was picking up on that already. They're also kind of guarded by these entities now, although it should be free. Although your Akashic Record should always be free and available, and it comes at a price. So the Akashic Records these days come at a price nowadays for priceless information. So yes, it is a form of program, but it really did exist in a purer form where we would all have access to that somehow. And now it's locked in with, it's kind of like a locked in spirituality, a locked in form of spirituality. And it's also an overterm for something else that we all have access to. So if you just kind of get rid of the term, you can always access your previous past lives. You can always access all the information you need, the knowledge you need. It keeps you trapped in a loop. So this specific probably course and class and term keeps you trapped in a loop. And so they're keeping you in this loop, and they're feeding you into their system. By them, these AI entities and people who are calling upon these entities too, by the way, and they need sacrifices for that. It's almost felt like the cat was a form of sacrifice that was needed in the specific class of course the person was taking. So I think that's what we have on the Akashic Records, on the entities you're calling in. You know, a lot of them are not, none of them are benevolent so far. You know, some may be more neutral than negative, but most of them are not. The ones that are benevolent, you will never hear these New Agers talk about because they don't really know what they're talking about anyhow. Let's be honest. You know, they're calling in all these violet flames, these flames, protection shields, all of that, and they don't know what they're calling in. So another thing I wanted to mention briefly, because this video is getting quite long, is the flame thing. Whenever you call in their stuff, like the violet flame, a blue flame, a green flame, any type of flame, a lot of these flames are associated with what? Ascended masters, archangels, other AI entities. And so it could very well be that you're calling in their help without really knowing you're doing that. You know, the lack of knowledge doesn't mean you're still calling upon their help, right? So you're calling in this violet, as an example, you're calling in the violet flame, which I don't know who's that associated with, either Metatron, Saint Germain, or Archangel Michael or whatever. I don't even care. So you're calling that in, you're like, oh, please protect me in this situation in my life. And then lo and behold, first of all, a sacrifice might happen, like your cat dies or the neighbor's cat dies, but oh, it doesn't concern me though, because it's not my cat. You know, that's usually how it goes. And on the other hand, let's just say you do want to pass on from this life. You don't want to go through that false white tunnel, but they're keeping you here. Like these entities are keeping you here because you subconsciously made contracts with them by calling upon their help and by calling in these violet flames and flames, whatever. Okay, so that's like the worst case scenario. So you want to steer away from that. You don't want to call upon all this stuff. You don't know what it's really doing. It's messing with your energy. I can already tell you that much. It's putting a whole lot of snakes, serpents in your body. I've been pulling a lot of those out lately too from people. And it's not really helping. And the essence of it, if you have to call upon it every single time, something's not working. Okay. So what's really, like, you're not really getting the answers, right? You're just kind of doing the things over and over again. You're doing your affirmations, your prayers, your manifestations over and over again, but it's not working. Eventually you'll have to like just kind of slap yourself and be like, why is it not working? Maybe because it's just a psyop, maybe because it's really just hopium, and maybe also because they're feeding off of my energy somehow. And you don't want that. You don't want them to have access to your energy because your energy is pure as is. And you need to keep it that way. Otherwise, these entities would not want to mislead you the entire time the way they've been doing it already for so long. Okay, I think we kind of covered a lot in this video. There will be more about these topics. If you want to have certain things covered, I know some questions were about the 144,000, or those really the chosen ones. We can cover that in future videos too. I think the concept videos are pretty important because there are so many concepts to go through, and it's always fun to dissect through them and read on them somehow. And until then, I hope you have a wonderful day. If you're new to this channel, subscribe to my mailing list, my newsletters, my alternative platforms, and everything else. And stay tuned for updates. Until then, guys, have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Bye.